Russia's spring offensive is supposed to be the moment Putin regains momentum in Ukraine. More assaults, more pressure, more ground. Instead, it may become the moment Russia burns through so many men, so much equipment, and so much money that the offensive leaves the Russian army weaker than before it began. Most people still look at this war and assume Russia can keep doing the same thing forever. It has more people, more land, more factories, and a leadership that has shown it is willing to throw bodies into the fight for tiny gains. The logic seems simple. If Russia keeps attacking, eventually Ukraine has to crack. That logic only works if Russia can replace what it is losing. That is where the story changes. In the first 3 months of 2026 alone, Ukrainian officials say Russia suffered 89,000 casualties. Even if you cut that number down to be cautious, the scale is still brutal. It means Russia is losing men at a rate that would have looked absurd even by the standards of the Soviet Union. And the territory gained in return is getting smaller, not bigger. That is the real problem. This is no longer just a story about high losses, it is a story about shrinking returns. Russia is paying more and more for less and less. Between late 2025 and early 2026, Russian forces kept grinding forward in eastern Ukraine. But the cost of every mile kept rising. By some estimates, Russia has been losing hundreds of soldiers for every square mile it takes. That is not a breakthrough strategy. That is military decay dressed up as momentum. And now the battlefield itself is getting worse for them. Ukraine has spent the last year turning entire sections of the front into kill zones. Mines, drones, trenches, anti-tank barriers, hidden firing positions, layered artillery. All of it designed to do one thing: slow a Russian assault down and then tear it apart once it is exposed in the open. The longer Russia relies on mass infantry pushes and armored assaults, the more perfectly it plays into that system. That would already be bad enough. But Ukraine has now added another weapon that makes these assaults even more expensive. Without much noise, Ukraine has started fielding the 203mm M110 self-propelled howitzer, a Cold War American artillery system that Greece agreed to transfer in a deal made last year. On paper, the M110 looks old. In this war, old does not mean irrelevant. It means cheap, available, and devastating when used in the right role. Each shell from an M110 carries almost 200 pounds of explosive force. With rocket-assisted munitions, it can reach targets about 30 kilometers away. It is not fast, elegant, or modern in the way people usually imagine Western weapons. It is something simpler: a giant hammer. And that hammer fits neatly into the way Ukraine is now fighting. Ukraine already uses systems like the Bodana for precision strikes and the RM-70 Vampire for wider fire missions. The M110 sits between those roles and makes the whole artillery picture nastier for Russia. It can hit hardened positions, troop concentrations, and rear area targets with a level of force that smaller guns cannot match. That means the Russian units trying to push through Ukrainian defenses are no longer just walking into mines and drones. They are also moving under the threat of massive artillery strikes that can wreck an assault before it gets close enough to matter. This matters most in places like the Eastern Front, where Russia is trying to turn slow pressure into a breakthrough. The problem for Moscow is that every new push now runs into a battlefield that is more layered, more lethal, and more adaptive than it was even a few months ago. So Russia's losses are rising at the exact moment Ukraine is getting better at making each assault fail. That would be survivable if Russia's recruitment machine was still healthy. It does not look healthy anymore. For the first time in months, Russia is showing signs that it is not bringing in enough men to keep up with the losses. Reports from inside Russia suggest recruitment targets are being missed and the government is reaching for uglier methods to close the gap. Regional authorities are pressuring businesses to put workers forward. Universities are being pushed to deliver students into military service. What used to look like volunteer recruitment is starting to look more like disguised mobilization. That is a sign of strain. And it creates another problem for the Kremlin, because the same people Russia wants to send to the front are also the people its economy needs to keep functioning. Pull too many workers out, factories slow down. Pull too many students out, the future labor force gets weaker. Offer bigger and bigger sign-up bonuses, and regional budgets start breaking under the cost. Russia is not just losing men in Ukraine, it is draining the parts of society it needs to keep the war going. This is why the spring offensive could become a trap. If Russia attacks harder, it takes more casualties. If it takes more casualties, it needs more recruits. If it needs more recruits, it has to dig deeper into a labor pool that is already under pressure. If it mobilizes more openly, it risks political anger at home. If it does not, it risks running short of the men needed to keep the offensive alive. That is the loop. And loops like this do not usually end in sudden collapse. They end in a slower kind of failure, where the army can still attack, still take a village here or there, still claim progress, but each month it becomes weaker, poorer, and less able to recover from the damage it is doing to itself. That is why the spring offensive matters so much. It is not just another chapter in the same war. It is a test of whether Russia still has a working theory of victory. Right now, that theory seems to be this: keep sending men forward, keep accepting losses, and hope Ukraine cracks first. But that theory was already expensive before Ukraine widened its kill zones, strengthened its drone warfare, and added heavy artillery like the M110 into the mix. Now it looks even worse. Because if Russia keeps fighting like this, it is not just spending soldiers to gain land. It is spending the future strength of its army to preserve the illusion that the current strategy still works. And wars get dangerous when one side cannot afford to stop and cannot afford to continue in the same way. That is where Russia may be heading now. If you want to understand where this war is actually going, and which shifts on the battlefield matter before they hit the headlines, subscribe. That is what this channel is for.